So my question, church, is can you explain it? If someone were to say, why do you have the hope that you have in Jesus? Can you explain that? What would be your reason? What would you say? A lot of you this week probably got texts from me because I asked this question because I was genuinely curious. And I know it's very difficult to kind of break this down to about one sentence, but I texted some people and I said, if you could shorten this to one sentence and someone were to ask you, what is the reason for the hope that you have in Jesus? How would you say it? And I got a lot of responses. And what's beautiful about it is everyone's is different. Like there weren't two people that was the same, because the way that Jesus moved in their life, it's the same God. It's the same God moving in a different way, and he's speaking specifically to you because he knows each and every one of you by name. He knows all of the hairs on your head. He loves you, and he is so jealous for you that he chooses to individually speak to you. He chooses to specifically one-on-one say, like, this is why I love you, and this is what I'm going to bring you out of, and I want you to remember this. So I'm going to read through these, and I'll be honest, there are a lot. But they are so good. So as you're sitting there and you hear this, just let it sink in. Think about what the Lord's speaking to you even in this moment with what he's speaking to other people. So the reason for the hope that I have in Jesus, ever since I found Jesus, I've had an unexplainable peace and joy that can never be filled by anything else. Because I am nothing without him. The reason for my hope in Jesus is even in the smallest of moments, he's tending to my heart. The reason for the hope in my heart is the peace that comes when I accepted him. I continue to trust him in the face of tough situations and following his teaching. Because when I have conversations with people who don't believe or are struggling and listening to what seems to be a missing piece in this conversation, where Jesus is, has been, or will fulfill. If we put our hope in Jesus and follow his example, he will be a blessing to those around us and be blessed in God's coming kingdom no matter what happens in this life. How many of you guys are glad that we serve an eternal God and this life is not the end of it for us? Right? That's good. Because Jesus has seen me through the best times and the worst times. He's seen me in my absolute best and stuck with me through the lowest of lows. And even at times where I wasn't where I should be or who I should be, he was with me, loving me still. Because to me, it would be his faithfulness to love and comfort and provide. I love this one because when you've been around a while like me, you've lived, you've loved, you've won, and you've lost. But there is one constant, and that's the love of God and the hope of salvation. I have hope in Jesus because I have personally experienced his presence and goodness, which is more fulfilling and life-changing than anything the world has ever offered me. I have found freedom in Christ that I never thought I could have. My hope in him remains because he has proven himself faithful and trustworthy even when I don't understand. The reason for my hope begins and ends in Jesus, who he is, how he lived, the purpose of his death and his resurrection into abundant life. Because this hope that I have in Jesus, it has to be put somewhere, and I've seen and experienced how deadly it can be to put it anywhere but in the Lord. Because he never failed me. Because no matter how far we flee from him, he's always right there where we left him, waiting for us. I'm so glad I serve a God who has never given up on me. And no matter how far I've run or tried to hide, he has been there waiting for me at every corner, at every stop. Because his love is forever, and he loves us so much. A couple more. God promises believers we will see his goodness in this, and we will certainly see his goodness in heaven, but we will also see it here on earth. I have hope in Jesus because walking with the King of eternity in our future brings us hope in the present regardless of the situation. Because I have a friend that can always be there to talk to. I put hope in Jesus because he is my rock. Because he lived for me, died for me, and I have no fear to walk in his power, his love, his truth, because he knows me and we walk together and eternity waits. Because he changes everything.